Ratchet & Clank is just a masterpiece on the PlayStation 5. When it comes to gameplay, graphic, visuals and of course sound, this is a must-play game in my opinion. And now we have the game on the PC as well, and we know already that HDR on the PC version is on the very same level as the PlayStation 5 version. But what about visuals? What about performance? What about the game in general? Can my 4080 beat the PlayStation 5? Hello my friends and welcome back to my channel. The best thing on the Ratchet & Clank on the PC is actually that you really can play with the PlayStation 5 controller, which I absolutely adore actually. I like this controller over the Xbox controller. Yeah, that's how it is at the moment. But in this video we're talking not about the controller, we're talking about visuals, we're talking about performance, and that's right now is the PC version with my settings, what I'm using in combination with my 4080. And in this video we're talking about performance, we're talking about picture quality, and we're talking about issues what I've found with the PC version. And before we now start, and of course I prepared a couple of side-by-side comparisons between PlayStation 5 and my PC version, we need to understand a couple of things. First of all, everything what you're going to see from the PlayStation 5 version is recorded with the performance RT mode, okay? So that's a 60 FPS mode with ray tracing effects enabled. I don't have so much time, that's why I decided actually just to focus on one mode, and this was actually the mode when I played the game back then, and I was very happy. So this mode, performance RT mode, has a resolution between 1080p and 1440p, but I have to say, I don't know what Insomniac Games is doing, but the resolution at the end doesn't look like 1080p or 1440p, okay? So you will see this, that it is actually very close to the PC version with native 4K, which is unbelievable. Okay, I have to say native 4K, of course, with DLSS enabled. So the other thing is we have to talk, of course, what PC I'm actually using. And of course, I mentioned it already, I'm using a 4080, which I just bought recently, and I do not regret that I bought it actually. I'm still using my old 750 watt power supply because it's still working. I haven't had any problems so far in combination with 750 watts. And on top, of course, my CPU is from AMD. It's a 5950X. It's a 16-core CPU. It's not the latest one anymore. It's actually slower than the 5800X3D, which you can also get for this AM4 platform. But I stick to the 16-core actually because of editing videos and stuff like that. So I'm very sure with better CPU, you can have also more frames, but I have to say my PC is actually, I don't know how many times faster on the paper than the PlayStation 5. So even I'm not using the latest CPU, it's better than the PlayStation 5 CPU for sure. On top, I'm using a 32 gigabyte of RAM, and very important, this is really very important, this game on the PC is right now installed on a Crucial P3 NVN SSD. Okay, so that's a PCI Express 3.0. okay, so not a PCI Express 4.0 as my main drive is actually, but I decided actually to use this because not all the people actually using NVMe drives, maybe some of them using normal SATA drives, which are even slower, and I like to show actually how much faster, and I'm going to show you this, of course, how much faster the PlayStation 5 is actually when it comes to loading. But before I now show you how much faster the PlayStation 5 is in terms of loading compared to my PC, let's talk about what settings I'm actually using for my side-by-side comparisons, or when I'm actually playing the game, because there's a little bit of a difference because of an issue. But I will explain this to you later. So I'm using, of course, a 4K resolution, 120 Hz screen. And this is important right now. Performance DLSS is selected, and the reason is because I'm using texture quality very high, and that's the problem. So let me just continue, and we're going back to texture quality later on. Everything else is set to very high. Object range for ray tracing is left to 6. This was the standard setting, but again, everything is maxed out. I disabled film grain, motion blur is disabled, vignette, chroma aberration, bloom is still on, depth of field is off because it's the same as on the PlayStation 5. And yeah, that's my settings, what I'm using to show you actually the side-by-side comparison. And now let's talk about texture quality and why this is an issue. So right now texture quality is set to very high, and when I'm now playing the game, and you can see actually we have at the moment 104 frames per second, which is actually fantastic with all these settings maxed out in DLSS performance. But the problem is I have stuttering all the time, and I'm not sure if you can see this. Sometimes the frame times are actually jumping like crazy up, and yeah, it's not very nice. So stuttering, micro stuttering all the time, it's not a very nice performance at the moment. And what I found is that this is caused by the texture quality settings, and even when I'm reducing this to high, I have very minor stuttering from time to time. Just when I'm setting this to medium, it's completely gone, and I can play this game in a absolutely fluent without any problem. So what I found also, texture quality medium, I can also use then DLSS quality, because then it's just running perfectly. And I mean, we have now a little bit less frames per second, but this is absolutely fluent. There's no stuttering, nothing at all. As soon I'm increasing the texture quality, and with high, very minor stuttering, very high, a lot stuttering. And by the way, it really doesn't matter if I'm now reducing my resolution to 1080p, the stuttering is still there. I tested this many times, and I saw some comments on Twitter as well that this is a problem. I would say maybe a problem because the memory on my 16 gigabyte 4080 is already full. Maybe that's an issue. Shouldn't be an issue, because the problem is now to play this game on the PC without any problem, I would need to set the texture quality to medium. But the problem is the texture quality on the PlayStation 5 is actually very high. Okay, so now we talked about texture quality, and you can see there is a big difference between medium, high and very high settings on the PC. And very high settings are actually matching the PlayStation 5 version the best. But I have to say, it's just visible on some objects, okay? Even I'm playing right now with medium settings, it's actually not very big of a problem, okay? So that's what I have to say. So you can decrease the texture quality and you still have a very great looking game. It's just very, a little bit weird that actually I have to do this, because PlayStation 5 offers much better textures, full stop, without any problems, okay? So let's continue and let's take a closer look on the resolution. And obviously we're playing here in native 4K with DLSS activated, but of course the PlayStation 5 is just offering 1440p maximum, and between 1440p and native 4K there's a big difference. Okay, so in terms of resolution, the PC version is clearly the winner, without any doubts. But what about the rest? What about shadow quality? What about viewing distance? What about, yeah, object quality in distance? What about, I don't know, ray tracing? Let's have a closer look on this. And last but not least, let's talk about loading times. And I think it's not a very big surprise that the PlayStation 5 is much faster than my PC. Okay, and now the question is, of course, what is the performance in general? I mean, we know the performance RT mode on the PlayStation 5 offers, if you haven't enabled VRR, a stable 60 FPS experience without any problem at all. What about this one here? Right now you can see 85 FPS. It comes down sometimes to close 60, depends on the situation, of course. But most of the time, actually, I have to say, this is a great experience. I found a little bit of issues sometimes that some textures are actually flickering. I'm not sure what this is. And I haven't seen this actually on the PlayStation 5 so far, but I mean, this game is just fantastic playable at the moment. With texture quality set to medium and everything else maxed out, there is zero performance issues at all, apart from this flickering stuff and whatsoever. And I told you already, I had some very weird crashes actually back to the desktop. But you can see here right now 65 FPS with a better quality in terms of resolution, in terms of shadow quality looks better and stuff like that. So it is of course better than on the PlayStation 5, but it comes with a very, very big price. Let me just quickly escape here, then we can talk in peace, because we need to consider, oh my goodness, that he's very angry. That's what we need to consider. Now we need to consider, I paid for my 4080 $1,800. For my PlayStation 5 I paid $750. So I can almost buy 3 PlayStation 5s just for one graphic card. And then you get this experience, which is, don't get me wrong, it's great on a PC, but when you compare this with the PlayStation 5, you're just asking yourself, where is my money? Where can I see the performance of $1,800? Because it's not there, okay? The port here, PC port, is, apart from the texture quality issue, in my opinion, okay? But it's not outstanding, not at all, because I was expecting much more. But maybe that's just my problem. Maybe I just don't understand how PC ports are working. You know, I was expecting just more, you know, at least something in terms of not flickering textures, or in terms of maybe the resolution even a little bit better. I mean, 4K is 4K, you get my point. But maybe you can have some more improvements, but it's not the case. It's not the case. So I'm a little bit disappointed, because again, I was expecting much more and I was hoping for much more, because this is one of my favorite games on the PlayStation 5. And I never finished the game so far, and I was actually going to play, and I'm going to play this on the PC because of the better graphics and stuff like that. But again, in my opinion, it's not worth to spend $1,800 just on a GPU. And the question, of course, now, and maybe when I find some time, I will put my old 3070 back in, and I will try to, how can I play this game? In what resolution, what settings I actually can play the game. But I know already that maybe the PlayStation 5 will offer a much better experience. And this is just crazy, because that means that maybe the PC port is not that good as other channels are actually saying. In my opinion, it's not. I have seen better PC ports, to be very honest. And we know, of course, that when we're talking about PC games and then you get a port on the consoles, the PC games are looking outstanding, okay? Outstanding. So this is really a problem, because it was made for the PlayStation 5 and ported to the PC. But again, I was expecting more, but just tell me in the comment section, maybe my expectations are too high. Again, great game, great visuals, HDRs are, it's wonderful, wunderbar. But again, in terms of the general impression what I have, what a PC port should look like, I was just expecting more. Thank you very much for watching me. I see you guys next time. Bye.